So I just want to say thank you for
being
an open book.
Yeah, I'm trying to be, man. I'm trying to tell my story before I go to my grave, man.
That's what's up. That's what's up. We gotta. The one thing that was said, I wrote the note down. It said the purpose of pain is to learn from it. Damn, I heard you say that at the end of it, and that was a powerful statement.
Oh yeah, I mean, I always believe that the only reason why we survive things is because we could and we're strong enough to, but so that we can learn from it and so that others can learn from it, so the people we love don't have to feel that same pain.
Right.
You know, basically. So, like, if you got any questions for us, we here. You know what I mean? That's what it is. Anything you want to know about how we made it, anything, that's what we want to do. We want to give you that personal connection and explanation to what we're doing and what the future holds.
Well, I'm going to open it up, man, to see. I think everybody is unmuted at this time. I'm going to give my guy, Desmond, a shot.
Come here, man. This is the most important. Come here. Come here. Sorry, bro. Like, stop this.
That's all I count. To your network,
take it all away.
Which I really commend, man. How did you kind of navigate through, kind of going through the radar of like Netflix and the other platforms to kind of make your own staple in this platform of world with video?
Well, you know, having a television network became my ultimate dream. The war I was fighting for, like, I would say about 12, 13 years ago. Once I realized the power of the internet, I was like, wait a second. I can distribute things and I don't have to go through a middleman. So then I was trying to figure out how to build the apparatuses to do those things. And I started to capture culture, and there were these opportunities through like Comcast. And they were like, yo, you could be a television network, but you got to show me $100 million. The agenda or the initiative was to empower, you know, a black owner. But if you got to go raise $100 million, you're not the owner no more. So my thing was, I'll go make a bunch of content. And once I have $100 million worth of content, then I'll come back around and just get it distributed just the same way I did the music and the same way I did the clothes. But it was a bigger dream than I've ever had. So I had to chip away at it. So first I had to kind of understand how to capture content, how to package content, and then I had to wait for the rest of the world because trying to build the apparatuses is too draining. So people had to start making it. So like to build a streaming service, I could just get, you know, I go through Vimeo, they white label it and I put it out that way. You know, I don't want to be in charge. It's just like a learning curve, you know what I mean?
So one more question. One of the things I like about your network is that you create that content, like that's money coming out of your pocket.
Right.
That you do that. You're not hiring major actors. And so how long do you plan to go that route? Or do you eventually hope to kind of open to be some big names?
Well, the thing is, I don't hire stars. I make them. You know what I mean? So I've never hired someone before they're famous. When I hired Kevin Hart, he wasn't famous. When I got with Jay-Z and Kanye, they weren't famous. When I got with Lee Daniels, they weren't famous. So hopefully what I'm doing is I'm targeting people that want to work, and I'm going to make them famous, and they'll be famous. I won't have to hire them. They'll have a vested interest in it, and they'll have equity in it as well. And then also they'll have the opportunity to tell their stories. So my whole agenda with Calvin was to start right here, to showcase his story, for people to know him, and then from there, turn it into a television show, turn it into a movie. He's already shot, you know, his own movie himself, which was a lot of the footage I used came from what he shot. So the young looking Jay-Z, I didn't shoot that. He came with that. So now he's going to have a platform to actually put that out.
So, respect. Thank you.
So appreciate it. Let's do this real quick, everybody. If we're not talking, we can go on personal mute, so I don't have to mute everybody. So we make sure we hear everybody clearly. So I'm gonna open it back up and see if someone else has a question.
Hey Calvin, how come we can't see you?
Hey Mike, come here for a minute, man. You got to put it on the video for me.
Oh, so, does anybody got any questions?
Everybody got quiet on us.
Okay, I'm here.
Okay, that's Calvin. All right, there you go. Yeah, so that's Calvin. Anybody want to ask Calvin Klein any questions? That's Calvin Klein.
So I have a question. How you doing, man, Calvin? So one of the pieces in the video that kind of really struck me was that, man, it sounded from what you said, if I got it correctly, you ate up about 14 years, and almost to an extent you volunteer for it, but on behalf of somebody else. One of the things that always puzzled me is that because there's so many barriers put.
Just in case. So when you are out talking to youth now, right? Mm-hmm. And I know it's a different generation and they may not have experienced a lot of the things during from the 80s and the 90s that a lot of us probably on this phone line, Zoom has experienced. How do you approach it, right? Because it takes a lot to get to them in a different way, in different formats. So what is it that part of your story that you feel that helps them to understand that they need to listen and so they don't go down that path?
Well, one, they can see that I can relate to them, you know, and the most important thing is that I tell them that I'm not here to preach to them. Like, I don't want to preach to you. When I was 14 to 15 years old, I didn't want nobody preaching to me. So first and foremost, that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to give you the conversation as a big brother, as a substitute dad, as a substitute uncle, or, you know what I mean, things of that nature, though. So, you know, I try to give them my experience and give them most of all the shortcomings of my life. I don't try to tell them about the successes, though, because, you know, if you don't do the things that I've done wrong in my life, 9 times out of 10 you're going to be successful. You know, and my times when I was out there doing wrong, I didn't have a long career doing wrong. I got locked up, came home, thought I had it, doing wrong again. I got locked up, thought I had it in my mind where this time I won't get locked up because I thought of it better. But every time my thoughts just stayed criminal-minded. I stayed criminal-minded for a very long time until I really got it to a point where it's like, okay, you know what? I keep setting myself back. You know, every time I go to jail, I keep setting myself back because when I go home, I'm back to ground zero. I got to start all over again to do wrong again. So when I realized that, that's when I was like, you know what? No more mistakes. I can't make it no more. So I try to lead by example. That's my whole thing. I try to lead by example. When I get the young guys to come at me and tell me, yo, OG, yo, what up, big homie, or what's going on? I see you out here. Yeah, you see me out here doing the right thing now because I got it.
Made everybody funnier.
You know what I'm saying? I got it this time.
Right. No, we appreciate that. We got somebody that's trying to ask a question now. Who was that? Let's get Damien unmuted. Damien, you with us?
I'm right here.
I'm here. Hey, Calvin, I have a question. All right, so we hear your story from back then. So if we looking at you now, you can go back with the knowledge that you have now. Is there one thing that you wish you could have changed, that you would change? Or
yeah, I would say all of it. You know, I really would say all of it. From the day that I started crime, I would say I wish I would have never started it. I had a chance when my parents was I grew up in a household with both parents. You know, I was an usher in church. I played the guitar. I played the keyboard. I went to summer school. I played tennis at Pratt Institute in New York. You know, I mean, I had those opportunities. Although I did live in the hood, my parents still tried to provide the best opportunities that they could for what they was able to have hopes and dreams for me. So once I got caught up into the life of following my peers, or really more so really following my brother was out there wilding out doing his thing, and I followed behind that. You know, and I wish a lot of people say that if they could go back, they wouldn't do it over again. If I could, I would. You know what I mean? Because I didn't have to do almost 20 years in prison to be successful. None of the stuff that I had in my past or in my greatest times or my greatest moments back then do I have. I have nothing from 88. You know what I mean? Yeah. None of that stuff.
Yeah, appreciate that. Anybody else got a question? It didn't work out.
Yeah, I just really wanted to say that, you know, I didn't, you know, my whole thing right now is just, our parents suffer, you know, a lot more than we do. You know what I mean? My sacrifice back then was I didn't care what if I lived or died. I just wanted that back.
Right.
And I didn't care how I got it. You know, I got it by all means necessary. Kill or be killed. And that was my mindset. That's the way I was, though. So I was selfish. You know, I didn't think of how my mom would feel if I got killed. You know, how they would feel or what they would go through having to do time with me. Because most of the time when you go to jail, you lose it all. You either lose it all, you either lose it all in the course of you doing the time, or you lose it all by paying for your lawyer, trying to fight to get out, or you done lost it all by the time you get home. So everybody is suffering while you're trying to succeed, talking about your excuses. You know, my excuse was, oh, mommy, I'm gonna buy you a house when I get older, when I get some money, or when I do this and that. But you know, my mom's sitting so well, but none of that comes from me. None of that comes from my past. Or anything. So you know what I mean? Like, so all those things that I said that I was going to do was only merely an excuse of what I wanted to do just for myself, for my own selfish reasons.
Right. Okay. That's strong. Before we got started, I asked Dame a question. I wanted him to kind of expand on that. Why OG stories, Dame? What made you want to zero in on OG stories?
Well, you know, the art of movie making is telling authentic experiences, and I happen to know a lot of authentic people. And what I tell those authentic people is, being that you've already lived this life, again, the purpose of surviving is people to learn from it. So turn those into movies, and you'll benefit from it if you're doing it for the right reasons. And I had the opportunity to do a TV show with the We channel, and I was like, for the money, I don't have to have overproduction to tell a really authentic story. So this is what I chose to tell. They were telling me how to tell it, but I went and just shot it myself because I paid for it myself before they sent the bread, and I was already done. But what happened was I had to make it in a way where it was deliverable to real television, which is great. And then when I sued the We channel and E1 based on the racist way they were treating us, which is, number one, a black man telling a black story has to go through a white production company to get hired by a network, period. And then that production company gets the lion's share of the money, they get the skim, and then they get to tell the story the way they want the story, which usually doesn't behoove us. They glamorize these experiences as opposed to learning from them. The purpose of me having a person like Calvin talking to a senator is because he's coming from an actual place. And you're a person that can help people. You are helping people, but you're helping real people, and you know how to help people. And the reason why is because you're talking directly to the people. So when you have an initiative for jail, he can tell you exactly what it's like to be in jail, and what it's like to come out of jail, and what's the best way to be rehabilitated, and the best way to talk to somebody, because you can't question his experience. He's done every single thing that the records. He's the one that they're rapping about. So if you're getting it directly from the horse's mouth and he's not glamorizing it, he's telling you I would have did it different, then anyone that wants to be him, the old him, would be a fool not to listen to the new him.
You know, you're bringing up something. So this is my opportunity to ask Calvin this. So when I was in LA in October, when I was doing the show, and in that conversation, he was talking about him being diabetic, and it gave me an idea. And to expand upon it, he invited an executive from what's your guy name from Mankind?
The CEO of Mankind. He makes my inhalable insulin. It's $1 billion company.
So Dane called him on the spot. We met and we started talking, and we drafted legislation that I got passed in Indiana this year to help folks.
Beautiful.
As diabetes.
And that's real power. That's the power. That's power.
Beautiful.
So this is an opportunity here to say, what type of help should states or the federal government be doing to truly help folks on the inside of the prisons to get reform when they come back out, that they're ready to be integrated back into society?
I would say awareness. You know, I would say opportunity, and I would say preparation. You know, we have to focus on the inside pretty much almost as much, if not more, than we focus on the outside. And the reason why is because it only takes one person on the inside to come mess up a whole village. You know, but if we keep taking the programs away from them and not allowing them to be able to reinvent themselves, more or less to say, you know, and giving them the opportunity to grow. If they come out, if they went in with half a brain or less than half a brain, no thoughts at all. Only thought they had was doing criminal things and all of that. While they in there, they doing their time, whether it be a year, whether it be 5 or 10 or 15 years. If they don't have life, that means they're coming home one day. And if you don't fill their minds up with things, then what they're going to come home with is with the same thing that they remember. It doesn't matter how long they be in there. You know, and even if they be in there for a longer extended period of time, then they're going to come out with greater venom than what they went in with. It took me a long time. I was in jail still selling drugs. I didn't get it right until I decided to get it right to a certain point and then to a certain extent. So I mean, I kept on going. I got locked up in 91. I got my time 25 years. I was only 25 years old at the time when the feds took me. And I didn't get it. As soon as I got to the penitentiary, I settled in, got myself together, got around my circle of people, and then I started selling drugs from the inside. And it wasn't so much the way I even had to. It was just to keep my mind to a certain extent, to keep my mind going as if I was still out of the street. So I didn't allow no programs to come into my life then at the time. But it's about programs, it's about opportunities. And as I always say, what comes change hasn't come dreams. You know, I did all my time up until the last year or two, I started dreaming again. And when my dreams gave me hope. So when I went up, a man with no hope has nothing. I don't care what you say, how you say it. If you don't give me hope, that doesn't give me any sort of opportunities. When I get out, I'm gonna do other things. It doesn't even matter. So, you know, I just feel that it has to be more. Dudes coming home, they have to go to the halfway house. Once they go to the halfway house don't really give them as much. They don't have their social security card. They don't have I'm sure, I understand that you don't have a license though, but at least some sort of picture ID, you know, get their birth certificate. When you're away for a while, you don't have none of these things. Right. When you're away for a while, you don't have the opportunity to go and put your resume and things like that together. So now when you get out, you have an opportunity. And then also too, you know, I mean, they have a thing called the bonding application for inmates that come home. A lot of inmates are not aware of that. They have a government bonding application where if the inmate is going to go get a job, he can go out there and get a job, and there's a tax exempt for that. But the employees is not going to, the bosses or other people that's hiring you is not going to tell you, you're an inmate, you convicted. Okay, nah, I don't want you. Nah, if you hire me, you got a better opportunity because there's a 99.9 success rate on that program. So if you take that application and get you a job, you got a better shot at getting that job after coming home for 15, 20 years than a person that just got out of high school or college. But you have almost 2 million people that's locked up in prison when 200,000 people, when 200,000 people come out in a year, guess what? 200,000 people or more go in.
Yeah. I mean, we got to acknowledge a couple things. One, the prison industrial complex in terms of privatizing all the prisons, that's a real thing. You know, from states to the federal government, that's a real thing. And also, while we're talking about it right now, while we're dealing with COVID-19, we got men and women dying in prisons.
True.
You can't separate yourself 6 feet when you're in a cell. So I think it's incumbent upon myself and other elected officials to say, what are we doing with COVID-19 pandemic? And that's being a quiet story.
But those are the forgotten ones. You know what I mean? That's what I call them. I call them, you know, to the forgotten ones. I haven't forgotten them, though, but those are the forgotten ones. Those are the ones that we forget about because guess what? We're not being helped here in New York. And we're not being helped anywhere else. These people knew about this epidemic way before they announced it, and then they downplayed it when they did announce it. That they had control over.
That's true. That's true. It starts at the top.
Exactly.
It starts at the top.
So now what we have to do is we have to really fend for ourselves. We can't fend for the ones on the inside because we're confined as well. Everybody's on quarantine now. You got a taste of being locked up. If you've never been locked up before, now you have a taste of being locked up. This is how it feels. Even matter of fact, you have a luxury because you're able to walk around your house, your apartment, whatever your place of residence is, and you're not in a small cell. You have the opportunity to realize how it is on the inside right now and what they're going through, because they're going through it 10 times worse. And some of them deserve to go through it. But at the end of the day, they don't deserve to die. They deserve to do their time and come home.
Amen. Yes, sir.
Senator, you have people that say they can't unmute themselves. They say you have the powers.
Hold on 1 second. I just unmute all. All right. Go ahead.
You know, the one thing I will say is when you're talking about the prison system, you know, I'm a criminal justice major. I have my degree in criminal justice. And the thing you see is, like he said, there is nothing for prisoners when they get out. Only thing out. And if you don't give it, we're taking everything from them. We say, well, you have to care because these people are going to get out, and I want them to get out and live their best life. Because if they live their best life, it makes me safer. Mm-hmm. But if you get out and you have that same mindset that you went in, then what was the purpose of having you in there?
Exactly.
You're making the people who are in charge of the prison richer, but we still in the same position. You put me in danger. So if you look at it that way, you would say, I want them to have the best. But we do not. We treat them like animals in, and then when they get out, they get treated like animals. So if you treat me like an animal inside, and you treat me like an animal outside, sooner or later, those people start to think they're animal, and they start to act that way.
Exactly, true.
So that's what we run into now. That's why I like the things they pushing. Like we talk about marijuana as being legalized. That's fine, but what about the people that had that on their record before that's in jail? We're not doing anything for them.
Yeah, that's true. True.
So I like this, and I like the fact that they take the time out to not give to the ones that already have. He give the people that don't have more of an opportunity.
Exactly.
Stuff that you don't never get a chance to see. So I appreciate this.
I have a question from Senator Melton.
Yes, sir.
Do you believe that Calvin's story will resonate with the youth of Indiana?
Absolutely.
And that being true, his story being so powerful, are there forums that we can set up where he can have access to the youth, where the youth could, the youth that you oversee, the youth that you represent, can have hands-on reality of living that life and the importance to change from it?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. It's folks on this line right now. I think it's timely that I think have the access and opportunity to create those type of forums, within our schools, but also within other institutions where we can get into and talk to youth that's in our juvenile detention centers.
One of the things that we're dealing with here in Newark, New Jersey, even you have so many people, they will look at jails as jobs. So then when they position jails as jobs, they want jails in the community, saying that if you put these jails in the community, these jails will produce jobs. But the problem is that it gives our youth a message. When you can go to school in the same neighborhood, play in the same playground, but then you also have a visible jail that you see that one day you can end up in when we have such a high percentage within our neighborhood. So there has to be, it almost as if jails are being marketed at our community. And that being true, that's something that we have to come together, especially people who have been on both sides, who have experienced what it's like to live inside and to live outside in order to bring change to community.
True.
I got a question for you, Calvin. You just like your story. I grew up in East Orange, New Jersey. But everybody, well, half my friends went to jail. The other half went to grad school. So okay. I'm always, But the thing is, of all of the people that I knew, they too came from both parent homes. We, matter of fact, in East Orange, the people who really started out in the game, they had both parents, and so forth. And don't get it wrong. Then in the 90s, the whole game changed. But you having both parents, what do you think it was that lured you into that lifestyle?
I had an older brother, 3 years older than me. And he had his chance was to get out on the street. He had the same opportunity as I had, with both parents and things of that nature, though. But he was just more inquisitive, at the time, and got out there when he was about 15, 16, maybe even sooner. But he just started running wild, and then I just started watching that, and seeing what he was doing. And although I was telling him to stay out of trouble so he can come home, stop going to group homes and things of that nature, it was just something that pulled me to that life, really. I didn't want to be my mother's baby no more. I didn't want to keep on being branded as the little brother, and things like that, though. So, that's what just made me do all those things. I just got caught up. I still lived in the neighborhood. I still lived in the projects. I lived in the biggest project, the second largest projects to New York. I lived in Brooklyn and Red Hook projects. So regardless of the protection that my mother was giving me in the household and the schooling that she was giving me, when I went outside, the hood was the hood. And I grew up tough. I grew up rough. You get in the elevator, they knock the light out. Whoever's stuck in the middle got to get it. That type of thing. So, it was just, I just got caught up, man. And when I got caught up, it was all in or nothing.
Appreciate it. We got any other questions? Let me check and see if I've not muted anybody.
Senator, I have a question. This is Jocelyn. So, Calvin, first of all, thank you. This story is amazing.
Thank you.
And I want to start by first saying something that I say all the time. Things don't just happen, they happen justly. Mm-hmm. And you said, I was kind of late tuning into the conversation, but when I came in, you were talking about how you kind of think back to if you had made the decision earlier, or you wish you hadn't turned this way, or maybe had come out the game a little bit sooner, or went the way that your parents had wanted you to go. Uh-huh. But I firmly believe that things don't just happen, they happen justly. So this journey, this path was destined upon you because you have a story to tell. You have a legacy that has been built. And most importantly, you have the magic serum to make some tremendous changes to our community or to our future. And with that being said, if you could go back to that moment where it just resonated in your brain, I've done it this way, I'm doing it this way, but now there's something out there that's heavier that I just want to make a change. What was that thing that just lit you on fire and help you to make this transition?
Getting locked up again.
But you had already been locked up.
No, I got locked up again. You know
yes.
what I mean? Like,
what was the difference?
The difference was I did a lot of time, almost 14 years old, came home, and I got caught up in a bid between Jay-Z and Akon, and as far as who I was gonna go deal with and work with and things of that nature. And then from that point on, I started traveling with Akon. I started managing Con. I had a lot of issues with my parole and things of that nature, though, but I still was able to really kind of like somewhat overcome that, and then just go on the road. I was traveling, Africa, Europe, everywhere. And then all of a sudden, when my parole officers for I got a new parole officer, and when they took my job from me, they took my life, my new life, and I panicked and I got out back on the streets and started selling drugs again and got caught up in 2009. And then I came home in 2012, but in the process of 2009, that was my wake up call. My wake up call was like, why am I here? Why am I here again? I don't understand this one. As this one's not supposed to be. So, and then I spoke to a few people in my family, and they were telling me, like, when are you going to stop being Calvin Klein? Like, when does that person end? Like, when do you allow yourself the opportunity to just be in Calvin, man, and just live your life and come out here and just do you, And that woke me up. It woke me up by feeling that if my mom or my dad or somebody in my family died, I wouldn't be there to give them their respects, if they did pass away. So it's so many things. I wrote my book while I was in there. The Neighborhoods Under Siege. I wrote that book while I was in there because I was
and the other comics that are.
I was in my most vulnerable and most terrible moment in my life, and I said this. I said I had to open myself up to see myself and to see who I want to be moving forward, and that's what I did.
People to not click on it because I'm white.
And I had to break myself down. I had to like turn myself into a skeleton, more or less. You know what I mean? And when I wrote the book openly. I could have wrote it a couple of different ways. I could have glorified the game. I could have made myself bigger or smaller or whatever. But I just kept it as real as I thought I could, and as I was supposed to. And then I just wrote it from the heart. You know what I mean? And that's just what it was. Like that's what I call my book of life.
Question. So following up on that really quickly, on the other side, so would you say that there were people in your life that through it kind of always tapped you and tried to pull you out and say, Calvin, why you doing this? Calvin, why you doing this? But you kept doing it. And the reason why I'm asking that, because I've seen, especially youth in this current generation, that are doing things that, you're like, you have so much potential, but why do you keep going? Why do you keep going?
Yeah, I had that all the time. But when, and I mean, if I go all the way back to my successes in doing wrong, that would be the 80s and early 90s. But when you're doing wrong and somebody's telling you to chill out or not to do this, I'm the same person that's taking care of you. I'm the same person that's helping you out doing all this. So if I stop, everything stops. You go back to being broke. You go back to being poor. Go back to not having. So that's how I felt. Like, maybe I might just have the wrong people not telling me what to do. You know what I mean? For the most part, you know what I mean? For real.
Where can we get that book at, Calvin?
It's on Amazon. Amazon, Calvin Bako, Neighborhoods Under Siege. You get it there. And I appreciate it. For whoever purchased it. But a lot of times I don't even like to glorify the book or to even like promote the book. Like, right now, I just feel like I go out as a motivated speaker. I go to Rikers Island. I've gone to Rikers Island. I spoke to them at Rikers Island. I go to DC, Vegas. I'm proud to say that in my journey and in my travels, I've even gone as far as speaking at Harvard University. I stepped in the footsteps of Malcolm X. If you ask me, especially from where I come from, that's not expected. I'm supposed to be dead or more so in jail. I ain't never supposed to be here. So this is plus moments in my life.
Senator.
Yes.
Aaron Burton said he had a question, but he can't unmute.
Hold on 1 second. Thanks for facilitating this.
It's there, so I'm like, I see it. So I just let you know.
What's the name again?
Aaron Burton.
Is unmuted?
The host muted you.
Yeah, I gotta unmute me. You gotta unmute me.
You there?
Oh, no, I'm here.
Hold on, man.
I muted it.
No, you didn't.
I didn't.
How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I have like a two-part question. It's partially for Senator Mann for Calvin to see if he has the same experience. Because one of the issues that I've had as a business owner is I try to hire individuals on parole. What I run into is a situation where and I can only put it this way, it feels like they're being pimped half the time. So that I had one situation where the gentleman, he had to keep, his parole was from Illinois, but he came back home to Gary to kind of get away from the elements, to change his lifestyle. But they kept causing him to come back to Illinois. And it seems like every single time he came back over there was other problems and issues. And it was like every single time, it was like they were waiting for him to make one wrong move so that they can put him back into the system. You know, and most employers are not going to have the empathy or anything to deal with a situation like that. You know, I had the same situation with a young lady that stole a phone. She stole an iPhone, you know, and every time she got her check was divvied up between the parole officers in Illinois and whatever she had to do here in Indiana. So what can be done about it? Because one of the key things that you mentioned earlier is if someone doesn't have hope, you know, you're going to lose them. You have, you know, they're making, most of them are starting out with minimum wage or whatever. I usually try to start them divvied up. And it seems like, hey, I'm doing everything right. I'm trying to do everything right. But every single time I take 2 steps forward, I get knocked 3 steps back.
And you want to go first? Or you want me to go?
You go ahead.
That's the same thing that happened to me. When I was on parole, I worked for Akon. 4.5 years later, after me showing all my taxes, cars, showing all the information on the cars. Because when you're on parole, you have to show a piece of paper that has where you live, where you work at, what car you drive. You have to put the license plate number and everything else. I was fortunate enough to have a certain amount of cars, nice place to live and everything else, and the parole didn't like that. You know, they put me through a whole lot, even to have to go out there on the road and work for Cone. But then when I got another parole officer, after a few years later, they wound up coming as a troubleshooter. And the first thing what happened when I went into her office, I put my hand out to reach her hand to shake her hand, and she said, I want a year of your bank statements, a year of your tax returns, proof of insurance and registration for all your cars, and I want to know where you live because you don't live where you say you live. So I said, what's this all about? I don't want to stay. So I'm going from having such a great life, traveling around and everything else, to my job being taken away from me right then and there. You know, I felt betrayed behind that, because I'm like, wow, I've done the right thing. I did everything I was supposed to do. And while on the inside, I come home and got me a job, and this is what I have to still go through. I just feel like when a person comes home, they should have the same opportunity. I don't care what my record look like. If you give me the job with the same pay of the people that's working aside me doing the same thing. That's all. Treat me like a man. Treat me like a person. Don't treat me like an ex-animal that just came home from jail. And I do understand that when you do hire them, the parole officer job is to come put pressure on the job that you work at, because they're going to come and invade that space. They're going to come and let the owner know, you know what? You know he's an inmate, right? And you're not supposed to trust him. That's what they're telling you off to the side. You're not supposed to trust him. And I understand you giving him a job and everything else, but don't trust him, because he might steal from you. He might do whatever. And I don't care what it is. Whatever he do, if he spit on your floor, then I want you to let me know so I can lock him back up where he belongs. Because they feel like they don't want to let us out. You do your time and everything else, and they still want to keep you in. So I just feel that if the person is willing to show an interest and desire for their life to change, then give them that opportunity. That blessing gonna come to you. It ain't gonna come to nobody else. That open opportunity that you gave that person, and they did so well, and then they moved on and they got a better job or a better situation, that blessing come to you. All right. That's That's the bottom line. That's how I feel.
That's real. And you hit that on the head. The only thing I can add to that from a policy perspective is 2 years ago, before I started drafting legislation to pass or to offer, I started having conversations with people in the community. I had parents, I had single mothers, I had senior citizens, I had formerly incarcerated individuals. And the conversations I've had with the formerly incarcerated have been very consistent. That it's almost like a tax on them once they get out. What I mean by a tax is you got the parole fees, you have other fees that they're charged, drug testing fees that they're taking. And my question has always been, how are we holding them accountable? Why are we holding them accountable for these things when they don't even have a job yet? And if they can't produce these things, then they're in parole violation. So basically, the laws are unjust. And there's a revolving door system that has been set up that we need a total overhaul of our criminal justice reform system. I know we got some questions in the chat. Let me see right here.
Lisa D is asking a question today. She's asking, how many OG stories will you produce?
I'm on mute.
You there, Dane?
Yeah, I can hear it, but can you hear me?
He's muted. Yes, to you.
Yeah, I can hear you, but I can't talk.
Let me make sure you hear.
It says I'm on.
Hold on 1 second, bro. There we go.
Unmute myself. All right.
There you go.
Oh, so what happened was the reason why I did Calvin's story first is really simple. He's the one that showed up first. So, to be honest, and after he did it, on his way out, it was just a whole lot of people that I know that I consider OGs that came through to tell their stories, and I was lucky enough to capture them. So I have about 7, and the thing about Calvin is that was one episode, but I literally have about, that was our first 15-minute conversation when he walked in the first day he came in, and I have a lot of conversations with him that are really interesting, but that was the one that the network wanted. They wanted the one about Jay, and then there's one about Foxy, and then there's one, there's a lot. But the ones that he was telling me offline were the ones that I was like, he knows the real stories about the legends, that people don't know. And then it turned out he's really close to my OG Daniel. Answer to your question is I have about 8, but I'll probably never stop making them because I know so many people. But the thing about it is the people that I choose to speak to about their stories are the people that have learned from them. And the reason why I do screenings with him and people like the senator and the bishop, these are people that I know that will really take his word and and understand that he learned from it and use this to teach other people from, and also learn how to make a better person just based on his experience or make the prison system better. The whole purpose is us to learn from this, not to glorify it, because the end of every story is I had to learn from jail, every story, or I had to learn from somebody getting killed. And that's we should be able to learn from watching other people go through that and not go through it, and that's what and also make things better for the system so we understand. It's like people from another culture are trying to help or pretend they're trying to help us, but it feels like all they're trying to do is control us. So it doesn't behoove them to make us better than them, because then we become their competition. So the only way to keep us weak is to keep us controlled. And everything that happens seems to be intentional. And it's a pattern. I don't think anybody's stupid. I think they're really smart. It's just we have to come with a plan. So if they choose a worse plan based on something they don't know about, then their agenda is just too clear. But we have to come with the solutions based on our experiences. And I could take this and show it like I showed it to the Senate or show it to a judge, and it might make them look at things different on how to talk to somebody if he really wants to care. Or he might say, I know how to control him better. But now we know how to defend that control better because we're all there aligned to block that. And that's the whole purpose, is to change the narrative. To me, the world is over. The old world is over. And for me, that's a good thing because the old world wasn't good for us. So we have to figure out how to come back on top with the new world. But we need to have a plan instead of letting them give us one. We got to make the plan, you know? And that's the purpose.
You got a lot of entrepreneurs on the line, man. I know that resonated with them right there.
Yeah.
So, Dame, when you come to Gary, man, we've been talking about it now.
Well, the thing is, another reason why I thought it was important for you to do a screening is because I want everyone that knows me to know you. And the reason why is because you're the most powerful person in the room way before me because you know how to get a law passed. You know how to teach people how to get a law passed. And you know how to articulate our experience to people that don't understand it. You're one of the only black politicians with a mustache or a beard.
I'll take that as a compliment. I appreciate it, brother.
I mean, like, how are we going to trust a black man without a mustache or a beard?
Oh, man. No, appreciate it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't understand why we as a culture don't celebrate our real heroes while they're fighting. We need to support you while you're fighting. You know? And we need to get you elected to be the governor and to be the president. And we are in control of that. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to start thinking chess, not checkers. So look what he does at this level, right? He's like LeBron James of politicians. He came in passing laws and getting jobs for people, you know? And none of us know it. They know it and they know to hide it. I know it and I know to promote it. And we all got to promote that. He should be famous, you know? And when people see what he's doing, it'll make kids want to be him. I'd rather my kid want to be a senator than a rapper.
That's true.
They ain't teaching us that in school. They ain't going to showcase none of us. And what happens when a black man with a mustache gets power? He gets laws passed. And you can't stop him. He passed the law in like 6 months. I was like, what the, you know what I mean? Out of a conversation, I'm seeing a bill. That was the most powerful shit I ever saw. That was better than a hit record. That was better than, like people, because, you know, I tend to care about people. I'm a diabetic that has the highest, you know, health care. But it makes me know how hard it is for people that don't have the highest health care. So we were able to help other people other than ourselves based on, I mean, that's dope. Or out of a conversation. That's power.
Yeah.
That's black power.
Appreciate it. We're gonna take one last question, man. We're gonna wrap it up out of respect to everybody's time.
Lisa's asking a question, Senator. She said, do you plan to stream these so youth across the world can view it? She said, in the time of COVID-19, changes have to happen. Maybe you connect with the Gary International Black Film Festival for a future project. Or the festival, because the festival right now is doing virtual screenings. It's something for you to think about.
I would have thought about it. That's why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
The whole purpose of this as well is I know that, you know, if the senator does a screening, there's not going to be anyone in the room that he doesn't respect that could probably do something, someone that's not like-minded. So I figure you guys would look at this and see the opportunities. So the question is, do you guys want it to be seen and can you help it? Me and Calvin are down. We will show up. What we got to do. So anything that we don't know the opportunities. If we did, we'd go right there. If y'all know the opportunities, tell the senator and we will show up. We will show this. I'll give it away for people to learn from it.
Appreciate it. Jahi, you there?
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Dane, you talking right along the lines of something I think is important, and that's like the intersectionality of hip-hop and its influence and intentionally kind of participating in that political process. And I think because now economics is the thing that the culture is kind of like shifting from. Shifting to. I think being able to explain to people how politics affects economics and how that affects your daily life. Like, I think you hitting the nail right on the head with like just your approach and perspective and willingness to participate in this political process. You said something like change the narrative. I got a mantra that I use: shift the focus, change the narrative, and recreate the cool. I think it's time for us to recreate the cool, bro. And you lead that headway, so salute.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you saying that. And I agree with you 5,000%. It's just this is a time where a lot of people are going to be exposed. Everyone that's pretended they're a boss, everyone that's pretended they're a general, it only counts in the middle of a war. This is a war. So whoever's not stepping up and being a general right now, I don't ever want to ever hear them say they're a boss or a tough, any of that stuff, because you fold it when it counts. And what we need to do is think like they think. It's not about survival immediately, because everyone's in a problem. They're all in a pickle. The economy will probably be a lot better in 2022. You know, late 2021. Things will open up. Not now, but who's going to be in the position? Who's going to buy up all that stuff that everyone has to leave behind? All the old systems are going to be washed out. Whoever could come with a lean approach, which is the reason why, like, when you're an independent, you got to be lean anyway. So when this thing happened, I didn't have to lay off 100 people, my whole staff. Nobody, I didn't have to fire anybody. You know why? I only got 2 people. Perfect. It doesn't affect me. If you're lean, you could just, you know, so no one's going to invest in anything unless it's pandemic proof. So don't even think about investing in the old world. That's over. Think about coming out ahead in the new world and what that's going to look like. We need to come out on top of this new world. See, that's the one thing they won't be expecting. See, the issue is, in some funny way, I'm starting to think this shit was to kill black people because we're the most affected by it. And my OG brought this up. What happens when that shit hit Africa and nobody can wash their hands? Then what? You know? The people that's getting affected, the people that got to go outside and work, the people that's eating the worst. What if they just made us unhealthy so they could kill us off like this? You know when they fatten you up to eat you? What if they been fattening us up to eat us? So we have to think about the future. Now, if we win, they won't be expecting that. They don't know where it's going to come from. You know what they know? They think we're going to panic. They think we're going to be controlled with fear. And we should just do the opposite of what they expect. Be strong, be smart, and think about the future, not survival and fighting each other. It's time to look at them. This is the time. Most people that were in control had a lot of ammunition. They had AKs and tanks. But right now, they don't have no bullets. I think we could take them with a little 22. Watch me do it. We have to have our own platform. We have to get our own people elected, and we have to buy from each other. And we got to support each other.
Amen. Amen to that.
And that's the purpose of this.
Absolutely.
So, thank you. I just got to, that's how I feel.
That's all good.
Yeah.
Hey, let's let Calvin, if you got any final words maybe you want to say, then after that I'll let Dane close out. But you
can close out. I said I'm good. You can close out. Just go to Dame Dash Studios and get it.
That's all I wanted.
And if you see a movie theater for sale, let me know. I want to buy it. Or a hotel, because they're going out of business. Let me know. I'm coming out of this with some bricks.
Yes, sir. Calvin, man, thank you so much, brother.
You want to say something, guy, Cal?
Make sure you go.
He's on mute. He's on mute.
You're unmuted on my end.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I gotta go behind Dame, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man. I just want to say, man, Dame took the words out of my mouth, man. I'm on board, man. I've been God's child, man, and I'm God's child now. I learned my lesson, and that's as best that I can give you. I can just give you me and all of me. You know what I mean? The truth and nothing but the truth. I'm not here to hold nothing back. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, good, bad, ugly, and different. My life was what it was, and it is what it is now. So I don't feel like I owe the streets anything, and the streets don't owe me. But, you know what I'm saying? I owe my people. And that's what's dear to my heart. I owe my people. I don't care about nothing and nobody else. You know what I mean? Like, I'm even with everybody. All I want to do is just do what's right for the people, for my people. And just like James said, we'll give it away. You know what I mean? It's you make money other ways. I'm not the richest person in the world, but I'm not the poorest. And at the end of the day, all I want to do is just be able to tell my story, because I don't want nobody else telling my story from my grave. They're not going to tell it right. Yeah. They're not going to tell it right. And that's my closing. I see y'all soon. God bless you. Thank God for Jesus for all you guys. Stay safe and stay out the way. We'll get through all this. I promise you, we'll get through all of this because God says so.
That's right. That's
Yes,
right.
Sir.
Hey, Bishop, I know the Bishop's still on, man. It's an honor to meet you, man. I've been watching what you guys are doing out there in Jersey.
Right.
We appreciate it, Senator. Mr. Dash brags and boasts on you every phone call I have. He's he's constantly thinking different forums. Definitely want you to meet my sister, Dr. Chris. But a lot of great things are happening. And what I like about what Mr. Dash is doing, this is the new golf course. This is the golf course where people come together and make business deals. They come together and they make plans. And what is that new golf course? That new golf course is that we're using the wrong word. They're saying social distancing. And actually, when you study, that comes from Nazi Germany. Actually, what we're doing is physical distancing. I lost my father to coronavirus. It's been a week and 1 day now. My dad caught it. He caught it in the hospital. He caught it 4 weeks. 4 weeks. But it's a hard way to lose them because they had stopped visitation since March the 17th. But the coronavirus is real. But what it has taught us, it is teaching us how to communicate and how to do business where we don't have to be in the same physical location. In other words, we could use our minds, we could use our spirit, we use our souls and bring forth change. But I'm all about bringing change to communities. And that's what I believe I see this forum doing. I believe it's a movement, and we're going to put wheels to it and we're going to roll.
Man, thank you. And we're sorry about your loss, man. We definitely keep you in our prayers.
Me as well.
Thank you.
Well.
All right, everyone. Dane, thanks again, brother, for
Thank
for
y'all.
all this
Appreciate
you do,
it.
man.
Dame Dash Studios. Just log on. Let's do it.
All right, tell Nicolette and Rocky we said what's up.
I will. All right, bro.
All right, man.
Tell your wife I said what's up, too.
All right, peace out. Be safe. See y'all soon.
All right, sir.
All right.
So, yeah, that was a senator, did a little screening. Again, big shout out to Senator Eddie Milton. No bubblegum shit, getting people together, trying to figure out how to make things better in the future. And that's really what we doing. You know what I mean? We going to get better. They're not expecting us to come out stronger. They're not expecting that shit. So come out stronger, sharpen your blade. Get inspired. You see, I'm working, I'm stepping it up. And I'm going to walk it like I talk, and I'm going to show y'all. You feel me? And we'll see where it goes, but I'm going to keep it doing. I'm doing it safe. But we going to keep working. I'm going to step it up. Everyone's slowing down, I'm going to go harder. I love this shit. I just, big shout out to anybody that is going through or being affected by the corona. And big shout out to anybody that's fighting, that's not sick, for those that are. But this is the time to be a general, not a soldier. You're going to walk that shit, it only counts in a war. And this is a war. So how you moving in this war? This is, if you got to look in the mirror, am I a soldier or am I a general? If you're looking like a soldier to yourself, then you better go up, do some shit, come back, so you look back in the mirror and you look at yourself and feel like a general. I just know every time I look in the mirror, I feel like a general. Because I know when I left that mirror, I did some shit that made me feel more like a general. Every day I'm going to do something. Something's going to yield. Something's going to yield. I'm about that work. I'm a silverback gorilla when it comes to that work. I'm about that action. And if y'all ain't moving, that's on y'all. Just don't let me, I'm going to get too far ahead. And I'm again, it's just like, I'm not even going to hide it. I'm going to let y'all see it. Get your shit together. I'm your competition right now. So if I'm working, you work. And work better than me. I want you to work better than me. I don't want to be your competition. I'd rather be your partner. That's it. You got to find strength in this shit. This is when you see who you are. They want you to worry. Don't worry. Get confident. But be prepared. Think things through. Visualize the win, not the L, the W. You know? Period. And anyone that's talking that dumb shit, get them away from you, because that just makes you dumb. Anyone that wants to be negative, talk about people, stop that shit. Talk about the past all day, worry all day. Get them off your line. They just want to bring you back to what they at. Because they scared, they want you scared. Anyone that's preaching scared, that's talking fear, is scared. And they want you to be scared with them. Now I'm strong. I'm feeling strong. I want y'all to be strong. And I want y'all to be strong with me. You know what I'm saying? Period. That's it. There is no L. There's only a W. You know? There's only forward. The ocean is back. You go back, you drown. So you got to do what you got to do to move forward. Period. You know what I mean? And that's what you got to do. Tighten your brain up. Exactly. Chestnut checkers. All that. Boss the fuck up right now. Or fold. Get off my line. You know? Go see who's following me and then go get up under them. You know what I'm saying? Because if they listen and they apply, they're going to end up bossed up. Period. You end up General Duck. Or you're going to feel guilty. And any hatred is insecurity. That means you know you're weak. You know? You're showing your hand. You're making yourself easy. You know what I mean? All right, y'all. I got to get up out of here. Appreciate y'all. Thanks to everybody for today. Later. Did my job.